So guys, finally, Wole Soyinka has come out to speak on what is happening in Rivers State. And like you can see, the headline here says, excessive. Soyinka faults Tinubu's emergency rule in Rivers. So he was on Channels Television today where he granted an interview. This is coming after Nigerians have been dragging him on the social media. Like you can see, this person tweeted yesterday asking, where is Wole Soyinka? Why is Soyinka silent? Abi 1 year never reached, because he told us he was going to assess Tinubu's government after 1 year, and all the things that have been playing out in Nigeria, he has chosen to be quiet. So since this River saga began, he has not said anything. Finally, he was on Channels Television today and granted this interview. And you can see from this headline, he said he faulted Tinubu's action on Rivers. Anyway, guys, before I let you hear from Wole Soyinka what he has got to tell Nigerians, I equally wanted to take a look at what the former president said yesterday that has been trending on the social media. Honestly, he condemned Tinubu's action. In short, you need to watch it for yourself. He called out the judiciary, he called out the legislature, he called out the executive, that they are pretending as if they don't know what they are doing, that they know what they are doing. That is very bad for a government official to be the one dictating what to do to the judiciary. You know, that should be for Wike. So guys, he boldly told Tinubu and the rest of them that nobody is coming to invest in Nigeria. Nobody is willing to invest in a country where the judiciary is compromised. I mean, President Jonathan did not hide his feelings. You need to watch it in case you've not watched it. And you're also going to be seeing what Wole Soyinka has got to tell Nigerians. Also, a professor has said that the federal might has come together. They have ganged up together to crush Fubara. All this you are going to be watching in this video. Take your time, watch, and let me know your honest reaction in the comment section below. Just take a look for yourself.
As a former president and also from the Niger Delta, when the issue of suspending the governor came up, I think people call on me, oh, President Jonathan, oh, President Obasanjo, you should say something. People expected us to say something about what is happening. And of course, people don't even know that traditionally all over the world, former presidents hardly make statements about what the current presidents are doing because of the tension it could create in the country. In most cases, look at America, look at everywhere. So hardly for former presidents to make, sometimes you see and you believe. And of course, what is happening in Nigeria today regarding the situation in Rivers State is like an Indian proverb that said that if somebody is sleeping, really sleeping, you can easily wake up that person. But if the person is pretending to sleep, you find it difficult to wake up that person. The key actors in Nigeria, from executive to the legislature, luckily Senator Binta and others are here, and the judiciary, they know the correct thing to do. But they are refusing to do it. They are pretending to sleep. And waking such a person is extremely difficult because the person knows the right thing. The clear abuse of offices, clear abuse of power, clear abuse of privileges, cutting across from the three arms of government, from the executive to the parliament to the judiciary. And I always plead with our people that whatever we do affects everybody. And sometimes we do things and we think that it doesn't affect us. I've been a president before, and even after leaving office as a former president, people get to me. Why is that our passport is not valued that much? Why is that Nigerians are not given the kind of treatment we're supposed to receive at international airports? Sometimes we think it's because of Yahoo boys or 419ers. No, not only them. Yes, they are part of the problem. But whatever happens in a country, decisions that are taken by the executive arm of government, decisions that are taken by the parliament, judicial decisions affect everybody. For example, no businessman can bring his money to invest in a country where the judiciary is compromised, where a government functionary can dictate to judges what judgment they will give. No man brings his money to invest in that economy because we are taking a big risk. So whatever we do affects everybody. And if we must build a nation for our children and our grandchildren, no matter how painful it is, we must strive to do what is right. It may cost us, but we must endeavor and pay the price to insist on doing what is right. Whether you are holding an executive office as a president, a minister, or a governor, or a special advisor, or executive, whether you are holding an office in the parliament, senate, or rep, whether you're a judicial officer at the high courts or appellate courts, we must strive to do what is right. If we want to build a nation that our children will be proud of. As we engage.
This situation is actually a few days old. I was watching what action will be taken by the House of Assembly, by Senate, and even by the affected politicians in Rivers State, whom I expect to be in the court by now, because above the president himself, there's the law, and I expect those who are affected to take the primary step. Let me confess that I was surprised at the ease with which this emergency law, that step, was applauded and passed. And then the critical question, even within the powers of a president under democratic dispensation, there are areas of discretion. And you're quite right to point out this wholesale suspension of everything for government. I think that's an over excessive response within the rights and the powers. We're assuming now, let's say that the president is constitutionally right, but within his powers, there are also areas of discretion. And I think that the wholesale scuttling of the democratic existence in the rivers was excessive. I think it could have been managed much better, much more economically. I think the president did not, it's not sort of curb the extent, he didn't economize on his presidential emergency powers. On that issue, I agree with you absolutely. There's an issue of the Constitution. Is the president's action constitutional? And I hope the affected politicians, governor and representatives, that they test this all the way up so that we get a clearer picture once and for all. Instead of running around in circles from regime to regime, it should be possible by now for one to be able to say confidently that this action is illegal, is unconstitutional, or otherwise. So for now, we can only leave it to the constitutional lawyers to guide us. Now, the next question is it politically wise? In my view, this takes us on a slippery slope. It's not what I would have liked to see happen right now with all our struggle to attain a federal structure. The spirit of it, in my view, is contrary to the spirit of federalism. Now, it's very carefully and deliberately, because this does not vitiate maybe the rightness of the action. It does not establish the wrongness. But with my commitment to a genuine federal structure, when an event like this happens, I say we're back on the slippery slope. And I hope that it is tested all the way, because as I've said, we've been through this before under different regimes. So either we have a decentralized federalist structure, or we have a quasi-dictatorial, whimsical kind of government which just panders to the political leaning of whoever happens to be in charge at the moment. So that's my take on it. Obviously, I'm going to go deeper and find out just what on earth has been going on in the River State that led to this, what I consider an unfortunate step in our federalist journey.
Barely 24 hours after resuming, the sole administrator has been meeting with some stakeholders. He has now announced that he has received the seized funds by the Supreme Court to the state, although the Attorney General of the Federation had confirmed that to me during his press brief. But critics call the sole administrator a stranger and an imposter. Some say he's even illegal. Do you think his legitimacy or the lack of it thereof may hinder his work to stabilize Rivers State? Also, we've heard from Governor Sim Fubara, who has not been seen since this state of emergency, and he has denied all the allegations leveled against him. Does it exonerate him and indict the federal government? What are your thoughts?
I think it's very clearly a battle that has been going on in Rivers State, where the stakes are very high, and federal forces have coalesced to smash that Governor Fubara. And so far, it appears they have had great success, because all the issues they've canvassed for against him have been granted by various agencies and forces that have intervened in the matter. And even the question of the Supreme Court saying they are not releasing the money, they have not reversed their position. They have not assessed whether this transition has occurred. So how come the money has been released with such fast moves? It means clearly that this is a political game of high stakes, and what we are seeing is the results of a proud winner telling the nation, I've done what I wanted to do.
It's quite interesting you put it that way. Let me even stay on that. The role of all parties concerned in this matter, how salutary would you say, both the president himself, Fubara, the suspended governor, Nyesom Wike, who we've been told, I mean, the issue has absolutely nothing to do with him, at least if we're to go by what the Attorney General said in his speech. How would you describe, the role they've played so far that's led to this, before we even talk about the recommendations of the National Assembly?
You see, we need to learn to be honest on this matter. We've seen Wike on television many times saying that this is a war he's engaged in, and he's been reeling off his victories one after the other. 1, 2, 3. So for somebody to say he's not a factor means they're trying to toy with our intelligence. Let's state the facts as we know it. This is a problem that had a clear history that's known to every Nigerian. Fubara was an ally and suppletive of Wike when Wike was governor. He was placed there as somebody to do the bidding of Wike. He became governor and decided to assert his independence. Wike came out on TV and said, "Obey me or I will smash you." Fubara said, "I will not obey you." And then 4 sets of forces acting in unison worked to smash Fubara. First of all, Wike himself made demands. The very first meeting when President Tinubu intervened, they didn't give Fubara an opportunity to say how this thing will be resolved. He was given an agreement where all the demands of Wike were put and none of his demands were there, and told he must sign. He signed, he couldn't implement. So Wike came out clearly in that and won his battle. The second issue is at the level of the president himself, who throughout his interventions in this matter have always laid blame with one party, Fubara, and never mentioned any issue about his own ally. Third issue, the judiciary intervened in this thing. It went right to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court granted all of Wike's prayers and rejected all of Fubara's prayers. So the judiciary became an active player, and they also worked towards smashing Fubara. The final actor was the National Assembly. All the legal opinions I've had said President had no powers to remove the governor. They removed it. The National Assembly decided to support the president's move of removing him, in spite of the fact that they knew they didn't have the numbers to provide 2/3 majority for that removal. Yes. Because they didn't have the numbers, they decided to disobey the Constitution flagrantly and do a voice vote where there are no numbers. The Constitution says count those who say yes, count those who say no. And for the Senate, you needed 72. Yeah. For the House of Representatives, you needed 240. How can you do a vote and you don't give us numbers? It means in law and in respect of our Constitution, there is no vote from the National Assembly supporting the state of emergency. In that case, how can you now suddenly decide, in spite of the Supreme Court ruling, that you've returned this money, everything has been resolved, where we all saw that there was no vote? Exactly. So I think we need to tell ourselves the truth on this matter. It is state power being used in a naked way in a partisan battle in which all these forces, the presidency, the Federal Executive Council, the National Assembly, and the Supreme Court all came together with a plan to smash this government they didn't want.
You're a very lucky man if you say you've had only one interpretation of the matter on the ground, that the president does not have constitutional powers. For some of us, it's been very confusing because even lawyers, senior lawyers, cannot agree on the Constitution and what, you know, the judgment, the Constitution says on the matter. Right. But let me ask you, can there be genuine reconciliation if the FCT minister continues to be absolved from any wrongdoing? The National Assembly has now set up a committee as one of its recommendations of eminent Nigerians to bring warring parties to the table. But if the president, his Attorney General of the Federation, do not see the FCT minister as a party to this crisis, do you think that the National Assembly does recognize the role of the FCT minister, and can there be that genuine reconciliation?
Well, for the first point you raised, what all lawyers agree on is that there is no specific provision in Section 305 of the Constitution that allows the president to remove a governor. There is no lawyer who has said there's that provision. Some lawyers have argued it is implied.
Yes.
But if it is implied and not stated,
then it's not
it is not a point in law.
Yeah.
So that is very clear, and that's why I'm saying all lawyers are clear. On this issue of reconciliation, I've already outlined the four forces that came together, and they've won all their prayers. They have achieved all their objectives. So when they say, okay, we'll set up a committee for reconciliation, it's what's called poetry. Say, okay, we've won all our points, so let's give some words that will show, oh, we want peace, we want reconciliation. And we are supposed to smile and say, yes, tell it to the birds. That's all I can say on that. So,
still, I mean, staying on that, the National Assembly, or let's say the House, actually made some recommendations that eminent Nigerians will come together to mediate. And also, they recommended that the president should review the emergency rule, and that in a situation where peace is secured before the expiration of 6 months, the governor and the state assembly will be reinstated. What do you make of that? Do you think the damage has been done already and there's no way forward, or do you think there's hope? Based on, I mean, that's a question that's already been asked. What do you think democracy as a whole is this a setback for Nigeria's democracy, or is it a learning curve that we can actually, make progress from?
I think there's a real threat to Nigerian democracy, and the success of this move by these four forces that coalesced shows that in this country today, no governor is safe. Any governor can be removed with an allegation of threat to peace and stability. And even in issues where that governor doesn't have a mandate, as in the case of Fubara, he's been accused of allowing insecurity to spread, while he has no mandate over security forces. The person that has mandate over the security forces and the responsibility to stop this insecurity is saying, oh, somebody else didn't do my job, therefore I'm removing him from office. So this is what is called the use of naked power, because you feel you have reached a position where you are in total control of available forces, and therefore you can do what you want. This means this search for reconciliation and review to return the governor is all part of the poetry I'm talking about. Nobody is supposed to take that seriously, and when they say it, they are saying it in a way that makes it clear, I'm just saying it because I should say something nice, but please don't listen to me. I'm not serious about this. It's just words that you say after you have smashed somebody and you feel you have to say a couple of nice words to reduce the violence of the destruction you have done on that person. But I think there's one issue that they are not looking at.
Right. Okay.
In all these issues about a fight to finish, the victims are the people of Rivers State. They've elected somebody as their governor. They have shown significant support for that person. They have shown their deep unhappiness at the way in which these four forces came together to smash a power that they feel represents their interests. And I think when we play politics with such extreme intentions, we sometimes forget the most important factor, which is there are Nigerian citizens who are victims of this, and they may have a limit for how long they will continue to tolerate it.
In other words, do you foresee this declaration extending beyond 6 months? Because you do paint a very gloomy picture here. If not, what is the pathway to reconciliation? Because as we are told, it is only a reconciliation that can lift this declaration, albeit unconstitutional, illegal, state capture, as it has been described.
You see, this thing, the stakes are very high because there is a relevant date, and that relevant date is February 2027. There will be elections on that date, and the issue is who will deliver the votes of Rivers. We all know that's the issue. So if you tell me, oh, we'll see if we can resolve this in less than 6 months and return to status quo ante, I'll say, well, what happened to the strategic objective? Unfortunately for me, I'm a political scientist, so I look at the forces at play. And the forces at play are clear. The objectives that are targeted are extremely clear. And where they want to reach is known to every Nigerian.
Which is the
There's
root
no
cause,
secret
the
over
root
this
cause
issue.
of the crisis.
Yeah.
That's what you're talking about.
That's right.
Okay, so, I mean, what it really is the way forward? We still need to ask. I mean, how can this crisis be resolved in a way that favors the people of Rivers State, not just the people of Rivers State, you know, Nigerians as a whole, and also address the issue of politics of impunity that seems to be, you know, taking a whole life of its own in Nigeria?
The way forward is to go back to political science. I've been doing it for 50 years, so that's the only thing I know. The first issue is that Nigerians are deeply committed to federalism as a political system. In a federal system, the president cannot remove a governor he's quarreling with. When you do that, you are threatening the very foundations of federalism. Secondly, in this whole issue, there are citizens who have concerns and who are opposed to some of these actions. By continuing to act as if citizens don't matter and have no voice and have no ability to act, you are taking a risk of pushing the country towards a precipice. I call on the president to think about the political implications in terms of risk analysis. And that risk analysis will point out to the president that you may push these people to a point of no return. It is not in anybody's interest to push this matter to a point of no return. So please reflect, Mr. President. Turn back those wheels of victory and look for a genuine pathway to peace. And that pathway is clear. Every day, Wike is on TV saying he owns politics in River State. And he will smash anybody who challenges
How
that.
do we end the
And
culture
that
of
Wike
impunity?
is a minister in this cabinet. So don't tell me it's difficult to find a reconciliation when you have a key actor whose behavior you can control because he works for you.
So guys, you have seen it. Everybody is picking up. Everybody knows that what Tinubu is doing in Rivers is, excessive force, like Wole Soyinka described it, that this is excessive use of force. Tinubu went so hard, overboard. I mean, beyond the control of the Constitution. The Constitution did not capture what Tinubu is doing in Rivers State. This is just because they are all eyeing Rivers State. Rivers State has been in the eye of the APC. They want to capture it at all costs. And then with all the crisis, Wike has been instigating in Rivers State. They now saw it as an opportunity to just take over Rivers State. So guys, who does that? Who does that in a democratic country? Who does that in a country where the person who is said to be the president once said he fought for democracy? He once ran away from Nigeria because he said they were hunting for him because he stood for democracy. He is a member of the NADECO group, which is a group that promotes democracy in Nigeria. This is somebody that, people will tell you, oh, they fought Abacha, they fought this one, they fought that. Today, now he's in power, he's even behaving more worse than Abacha. People have now, termed Tinubu to be even more deadlier than Abacha. Abacha now is sent because Tinubu is in power. So, guys, it's nice to see that, Wole Soyinka has come out to say this one, no, that Tinubu crossed boundary. Tinubu crossed boundary. I mean, people are saying it bold and clear that Tinubu crossed his boundary. You can imagine, to the point that the Constitution was not even respected, and when it got to the House of Assembly, the Constitution was not respected. The people who proposed bills for us, who make law for us, they did not even value the Constitution. They went ahead to pass what Tinubu said, and now they want Nigerians to admit it. See, people are not taking that for an answer. Nigerians, even the River State indigenes, they are not welcoming the sole administrator. They said, no, Fubara remains their governor. You can imagine, this is just how people truncate democracy. Okay, when other neighboring countries like Niger and Burkina Faso and the rest of them, when the military rule took over, people like Tinubu, them condemned it. Now, military rule in a state, a man who rejected military rule, but because he is looking for his own political desire, he's now allowing, military rule in a state where the governor has not faulted anything. As in, this governor has not done anything. Wike has been the one on Governor Fubara from the onset, that he destroyed his political structure, and for that reason, Rivers State will not progress. And Tinubu does not even think that, oh, I need to call this man to order. No, if one state is on fire, the entire Nigeria is on fire, then it's going to spoil my own reputation. It's going to spoil my leadership. Tinubu did not see it that way, because they need Rivers State at all costs. Ahead of 2023 presidential election, anything can go. Self-centered leaders that don't have the people at heart. They don't care how Rivers people have been, have been managing. Okay, somebody came one time and reacted on the social media saying Rivers State is the only state where the oil that is sustaining Nigeria is being drilled, and their cities, they have one of the highest of unemployment for their youth. That is the center of the wealth of Nigeria. But guess what? Majority of their youths are unemployed. They only go to rally grounds, and when Wike was commissioning projects, like you can see Fubara, they will come there. Politician money money is what some of them are depending on. But when it comes to making life meaningful to the people of Rivers, they've got nothing to showcase for. And instead of Tinubu to help at least write his name on a platter of gold by making sure that the Rivers state government does not forget Tinubu when he leaves office, Tinubu has now gone to hijack Rivers State. So guys, it's really so sad when you look at what is happening in Nigeria. We have self-centered leaders. We have leaders that do not care. We have leaders that do not even consider, you know, the consequences of some of their actions. And that is why you see them doing these things without thinking twice. Anyway, this time around, Tinubu has acted, but it's not going all well. And Jonathan has come out to call out the judiciary that why are they always complacent on issues like this? Why are they not taking the right action, you know, that has to be taken? They are listening to politicians. And that is it, because the judiciary has been bought over, the police has been bought over, military bought over. Now, every parastatal, every government institution, every government body, all of them have been bought over. Anyway, the power still belongs to the people. Let's see how all this is going to play out in 2027 presidential election. So, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you.